Hi, welcome in this third tuto about the voice. The dynamic management of the voice. We start immediately. I'm using here a different song because on this one you see there is a large dynamic variation in the voice track. This is where I am in the voice track. Let's have a first listen as it is before any treatment. So you see that there is really in this track we have a lot of quiet moment and very strong one. So what we want here is we want to increase those quiet moments in output gain, and in the same time not having any saturation in the peak. That means that we want to increase this part here, and we want to make some attenuation in the same time on the peak. This will be true also in this small phase here. So how do we do that? The first thing, and this is also what I've explained in the tuto number 1, we will have first some gain staging that you should do when you really have this high peak here. So what I've done, and this gain staging, you can, if you do not know exactly what I'm talking about, please have a look to my first tuto. So I will make a first reduction in this peak here. That is done, really in the highest one. And this is the first thing I do. Now we will discuss about the compression, but the compression, in fact, this is what it will do. It will make an automation on the signal, but with far more, let's say, efficiency, and also the way you do this attenuation in terms of attack and release can be really more natural thanks to the compression. So the voice, I am using for the voice 2 compressors, and I don't remember if I've mentioned that in the tuto number 2, but I will play them just after the first equalization. That's the cleaning of the frequencies that we have done, and before the next one, which will be with the additive equalization, where we will make some embellishment for the different tracks and in the mix. Of course, this is something also for the compression that you should do in context, but we start in solo, and so you can really understand what I'm doing. So I will start with the first compressor. Here, the idea is that I want to make a first treatment of the peak. So here is my compressor. This is my threshold. That's the level where my compressor, the orange line, is starting to act. So you see that I've placed it at a level where I'm really only acting on the peak. All the other signal, quiet moment, I'm not touching. So really this is where it will act. Really on this mix. And now what I want to do here is the chirurgical approach. I want the attenuation to start at the peak, so that's why I have a really fast attack. In this case about 5 milliseconds, and a really fast release. So I take all the signal, it could go back to 0 before the next one. In this case, my ratio is okay, my threshold is okay, natural ratio about 2 to 1, fast attack and fast release. And then I made the correction of output gain, and in this case, I have to look in the peak, how much you see, I can make an increase of about 3 dB. So now what is interesting is if we listen without, in the quiet moment, with, see that already there is an increase in those parts, and the level is not increasing in the peak. Now the second compressor I will use to add a bit more body again in the quietest moment. So this one is a bit different if I compare the threshold. So I take more signal, so I can also have an action on the quiet moment. And what I want here is to increase this energy here. So I am using a medium attack. I start after the peak and get the transient of the voice. And I'm using medium, let's say medium release, about 60 milliseconds, something like that, which is a natural release. In this case, I have an output correction gain of about 2.5 dB. Yeah. It could be even more when I look at the it should be something like 4. So now, again, without. So after this phase, we still realize that the voice is a bit back in the mix. It's not enough in front. And that's something I realize also that the musicians are a bit shy on that, and you need to have the voice a bit more in front. So if we listen again in the mix. So how can we do that? Put the voice a bit more in front once we have done all the compression phase here on the track. And what we will do is the parallel compression in order to get more body for the voice. So how do we do it? We first insert a return track here. This is Ableton. I don't know how you do that if you have a different software, but you need to insert a return track. So I will rename it voice compression, just to see where I send. So this is track B here, return track B. I will send the signal of the voice to this track. And in this return track, I had a compressor. Makeup out, we don't need that. So the setup here is also always the same. Use a ratio of 2.5, a very fast attack of 2.5, and long release of about 250. We will see, but about, let's say, 240. And what this means is that when you will send the signal of the voice in this return track, you still keep the initial signal with all the transient that you will just have been working on, and you will have a second signal which will be very, very with a high compression. So let's play. So I'm in this compression voice here. My compressor is here. So what we will do is we'll take the maximum level, all the level in the threshold, and you see. And so what we want is to have a maximum compression effect here. You see the effect of the compressor. And then we will need to make a correction of the output gain, which should be around 15 to 20 dB. Let's have a look. So let's put 20 dB here. So if we just listen to the return track in solo, we'll see that's not really nice. Huh? Look. It's really a very compressed signal here. And now what we will do, we'll use a fader in order to balance in between the original voice with the transient and this that will put more body for the voice sound. So if I start from 0, I increase a bit. Without. With?
et gazouté.
Without?
Toute
With?
allure sur la chaussée, Ford Mustang, débridé.
And of course you can
Comme
play
une femme en
with
liberté.
the mixer. But in this case I keep it at full signal send.
T'es démodé.
And then you see that the voice is coming in front of the full mix. And this is what we want. And by the way, that's something I've also used. You see, I've put a return track for the compression of the drum and bass together. I can show you that for the guitar. We'll see that later when I talk about the compression of the guitar. For the drum and bass, I'm using the same setup, 2.5, 2.5 and long release, 2.20 in this case. And if we play,
Gasolé, arrête
take it out
t'es démodé.
with
Hey,
a correction of about 15-17 dB in this case for the drum and bass. And I'm sending the full drum. It's return track A, yeah? And the bass I'm sending less signal because otherwise it was too high for the bass. And if I do that without the return track, with okay, so that was it for the compression of the voice and the parallel compression, and we will have a look to probably to other instruments like the guitars, mainly the guitars, acoustic and electric. For the rest, all the, let's say, keyboards, piano, synthesizer, these kind of things, usually you don't use the compression on that. You keep it as it is. Thank you for listening, and well, I'll see you for the fourth tuto when I have some times to prepare it. Thank you. Bye-bye.